The world watched in shock as Donald Trump, never one to shy away from controversy, turned what was expected to be a routine political exchange into a brutal and public rejection of Labour leader Keir Starmer on live television. What began as a moment of diplomacy quickly spiralled into a calculated snub, leaving Starmer humiliated and Britain questioning its place on the global stage. This wasn't just politics, it was personal. And the message Trump sent couldn't have been louder. Loyalty matters, respect matters, and in his world, betrayal comes with consequences. From the very beginning, Trump's style has been unpredictable, direct, unapologetic, and often ruthless. But no one expected him to deliver such a sharp blow in full view of the cameras. Starmer, representing a nation that has long prided itself on its special relationship with the United States, was suddenly left stranded, dismissed in front of millions of viewers. This was more than an awkward television moment. It was a power move carefully designed to remind the world who sets the terms when Donald Trump is in the room. Consider the symbolism. For decades, Britain has leaned on its historic alliance with the United States, an alliance built on shared battles, common values, and a mutual respect that has shaped global politics. Yet in a single televised moment, Trump tore through that carefully crafted image, sending Starmer the harshest possible message: "You don't get a seat at my table." This wasn't simply a diplomatic disagreement, it was an outright rejection, one designed to sting. But why Starmer? Why now? The answer lies in history. During the 2020 US election, Labour figures openly criticised Trump, with some even backing his rivals. To Trump, this wasn't political debate, it was betrayal. And if there's one thing he never forgets, it's betrayal. His response was not hidden in private conversations or behind closed doors. No, Trump chose the stage of live television, ensuring that the rejection would echo across Britain, Europe, and beyond. It was as if he wanted to say, "This is what happens when you cross me." For Starmer, the humiliation was immediate and undeniable. Once seen as the steady hand who could restore Labour's credibility, he suddenly appeared powerless, unable to secure even the basic respect of one of the world's most dominant leaders. The fallout was instant. Commentators across the globe began to ask, if Britain's leader-in-waiting can be dismissed so easily, what does that mean for the country he represents? The ripple effect was more than political. It was psychological, a direct hit to Britain's sense of influence on the world stage. Trump's rejection also struck at a deeper truth about international politics: respect must be earned. In his eyes, Starmer hadn't earned it. Instead, the Labour leader had aligned himself with voices that openly condemned Trump, mocked his policies, and dismissed his leadership. Now live on air, Trump delivered his response. He was not interested in apologies or quiet reconciliations. He was interested in making an example, and he succeeded. The power of Trump's move lies not only in the rejection itself, but in the way he executed it. By turning it into a public spectacle, he transformed what could have been a behind-the-scenes dispute into a global story. Every viewer watching understood the message. Every ally and adversary took note. Trump wasn't just rejecting Starmer, he was showing the world how he deals with those who underestimate him. The spectacle created suspense, tension, and a lingering question: what comes next? For Britain, the timing could not be worse. The country is already wrestling with internal divisions, growing dissatisfaction over immigration policies, and questions about its role in a rapidly changing world. Starmer's exclusion only deepens the uncertainty. Can he recover from such a public embarrassment? Can he prove that Britain still matters to Washington under Trump's leadership? These are not just political questions, they are existential questions for a nation trying to define its future. What makes this moment so extraordinary is that it wasn't just about Trump versus Starmer. It was about two nations, their history, and their future. By rejecting Starmer on live TV, Trump wasn't only snubbing a politician, he was challenging the very idea of Britain as a trusted partner. He was putting the UK on notice. Alliances are not guaranteed, they must be earned, and in Trump's world, loyalty comes before tradition. The suspense now grows. How will Starmer respond? Will he attempt to repair the damage, or will he push back, risking an even deeper rift with Trump's America? The world waits for his next move, knowing that every word he chooses will be dissected, debated, and remembered. For Trump, the rejection was simple. For Starmer, the consequences are only beginning. The silence that followed Trump's rejection was deafening. In living rooms across Britain, viewers watched as Starmer's composure faltered his expression, betraying the weight of the humiliation. What should have been a moment to strengthen Britain's voice on the global stage had turned into a public spectacle of weakness. For Trump, this was the goal all along. He wanted not just to dismiss Starmer, but to do it in a way that would be remembered and replayed for years to come. This was not an offhand comment, not a slip of the tongue. Trump thrives on calculated theatrics. By rejecting Starmer live on air, he transformed politics into performance. The world was not just hearing a message, they were watching a show in which the leader of the Labour Party was cast as the defeated, outmaneuvered figure, while Trump stood as the commanding presence, unyielding, untouchable, and unapologetic. The broader implications are staggering. Britain has always prided itself on its special relationship with America, a bond forged in wartime alliances and decades of cooperation. But Trump's message cut through all of that history. The past doesn't matter if loyalty isn't present today. Starmer's prior criticisms of Trump were being replayed in real time, not as words from the past, but as mistakes with lasting consequences. This was Trump's way of settling the score, ensuring that the betrayal was never forgotten. For Starmer, the political fallout at home could be devastating. His critics in Parliament wasted no time seizing on the rejection, portraying it as proof that he lacks the authority to lead Britain on the world stage. They argue that if the Labour leader cannot secure respect from Washington, then how can he possibly defend Britain's interests abroad? And while Starmer's allies urge patience, the public spectacle of the snub is not easily erased from memory. Voters do not forget humiliation. Trump's supporters, on the other hand, celebrated the moment as a bold display of strength. To them, it was proof of Trump's consistency. He rewards loyalty and he punishes betrayal. In their view, Starmer got exactly what he deserved. And once again, Trump succeeded in shaping the narrative, not only dominating headlines, but also forcing Britain to question its own leadership at a time of vulnerability. But beyond politics lies something deeper: the psychology of power. Trump understands better than most that leadership is as much about perception as it is about policy. By rejecting Starmer publicly, he reshaped the perception of Britain's influence. The Labour leader appeared diminished, sidelined, and overshadowed. The very optics of the moment told the story one man commanded the stage while the other was left struggling to find his footing. The consequences of this moment extend far beyond Britain. Across Europe, leaders are watching closely. They see Trump's willingness to sideline even one of America's closest allies, and they are left wondering if Britain can be dismissed so easily. What hope do smaller nations have? The rejection sends a ripple through the entire Western alliance, raising questions about the stability of relationships many had long taken for granted. And yet the story is far from over. For Starmer, this is a defining test. How he responds will shape not just his political career, but the future of Britain's standing in the world. Does he attempt to rebuild bridges with Trump, swallowing the insult in the hope of securing future cooperation? Or does he push back, risking further confrontation with a man who thrives on conflict? Either path carries risks, and neither promises an easy solution. For Trump, the rejection was not just an act of dismissal, it was a demonstration of control. He showed that he alone decides who is welcome at the table and who is not. He reminded the world that his loyalty cannot be demanded, only earned. And he left Britain with a sobering reality: respect in his world is conditional, and those who cross him pay the price. The suspense now hangs over Britain like a shadow. Can Starmer rise from this humiliation and prove himself as a leader worthy of respect, or will he remain defined by this moment of rejection? Can Britain restore its influence, or has Trump exposed a weakness that will haunt its politics for years to come? History will remember this moment, not as a simple television exchange, but as a turning point. A moment when one leader's rejection forced a nation to confront its own fragility, its own standing, and its own uncertain future. The stage has been set, the drama is unfolding, and the question that remains is the most haunting of all. When the world is watching, can Keir Starmer ever recover?